name is Maria Curie. I was born in Poland in 1867 to a family of teachers actually, which is probably the reason why by the age of 4 I could already read. Sadly, when I was just 10 years old, my mother died. At that time Poland was under Russian rule and my family didn't have enough money to send myself or my sisters to university. So my older sister, Bronya, saved enough money so that Bronya could go to medical school in Paris. And so that I could join her and also begin. I passed all of my exams into the university, which I was very proud of at the time, into the Faculty of Physics and Chemistry in the Sorbonne University of Paris, and I attained excellent results. I studied extremely hard and I often forgot to eat, but the result of my hard work really did pay off, and I received a scientific title in physics as one of the only few women in history to attend Sorbonne University of Paris. And in 1893 I received my degree in physics, magna cum laude, and obtained another bachelor's degree in mathematics in the following year. So I suppose I have a lot to be proud of. In 1895 I got married to Pierre Curie, who was a very well-known physicist in the scientific environment of Paris, but by 1897 I became fascinated, obsessed, I might say, with scientific discoveries, so intrigued that I actually decided to focus my research on the so-called Becquerel rays as a subject for my doctorate. Now my husband Pierre helped me with my research too, and I have taken the measurements and tested different materials, for example pitch blende containing the uranium, alongside with his brother Jacques. He also improved the quadrant electrometer used by William Thomson and Lord Kelvin to take measurements of the electrical conduction of the ionized gases by uranium. I used this item, which demanded special abilities of the one person who operated, of course, to the quantitative research of the air ionization by the probes containing uranium. During the observations, it turned out that the tested pitch blende and other compounds of uranium had higher radioactivity than uranium itself. This is when it became clear that another element, thorium, is also radioactive, albeit weakly. Now in 1898, my husband and I published 2 very important articles in which we included the information about the results of the research of the discovery of the new element, polonium, named after my motherland, of course, Poland, PO. We were thinking that the Becquerel rays were just a part of the phenomena with the bigger scope, concerning not only a few substances as they named it, but radioactivity. We were working hard during those days and we were very often working throughout the night in a shed that we converted into a space that we could use for experiments, and it actually used to leak. During those days, I think it was in the month of December, that we actually discovered another radioactive element, radium. We immediately spoke of our discoveries of the 2 new elements from Mendeleev's periodic table to the French Academy of Science and the Polish magazines. The unknown element had to be isolated from the mixture of different substances. We had to clean it and check it carefully, focusing on its physical and chemical properties. The principal of the School of Industrial Physics and Chemistry actually gave us a shed in which we used for the anatomy laboratory for the medical school. It was there that I started a series of activities that aimed to create a pitch blend of the mysterious radioactive elements in the pure state. It was very hard physical work. I was grating the uranium ore, sifting it, resolving it, and by boiling it, evaporating the liquid, filtering it, distilling it, and running electric currents through it. Each stage I controlled the composition and the pureness of the ore together with my husband. And then I chose the part of the ore that was the most radioactive and kept purifying it. As a result, our work became very precise. And after almost 4 years, I managed to isolate 1 decigram of radium in a state of all its permanent salt to determine its atomic mass. Some of the activities of the chemical technological process had to be conducted in the courtyard next to the shed that I told you about. In 1903, I defended my doctoral thesis, which was entitled Research on Radioactive Objects at Sorbonne University, with a very satisfactory result. At the end of that year, the Nobel Prize Committee gave the Nobel Physics Prize to Becquerel and myself and my husband, Pierre, for our work on research in radioactivity. It was my dear Pierre who insisted that I should be included into the prize, which I think was quite right considering all the work I did. After the Nobel Prize, we became very famous. Well, I was the first woman in history to receive it. In 1905, my husband died in an accident. It was a very difficult time for me. It was 3 years later that I became the only woman in the world to receive 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different areas. And in my lecture that I conducted at the ceremony, I addressed the subject that radioactivity is the feature of the atoms of matter. 3 years later, the First World War broke out, and my daughter, Irina, and I helped injured soldiers, and I taught volunteers how to operate the machines for taking the X-ray pictures. At the end of the war, I established the Radium Institute in Paris, and I worked as director. My daughter Irina worked together with me, and we conducted the research on the alpha particles emitted by polonium. The institute became the global centre of the atomic physics and chemistry. Under my direction, many scientists from Europe, and some from Poland, quite a lot actually, and the rest of the world were checking the chemical reactions inside the radioactivity substances and their usage in medicine. In 1920, I met a wonderful American journalist. Her name was Maria Melone, yes, that's right. She planned for me to lecture throughout the United States of America, and she helped me find a financial resource so that I could develop the Radium Institute. And it was during my visit to the USA in 1921 that I received a gift from American women, 1 gram of radium with the value of $100,000. Despite my failing health, I still continue to attend many congresses, meetings, scientific debates. I still write testimonials, recommendations. I've even reviewed articles published by the Radium Institute in the magazine Journal de Physique et le Radium, and sent many copies of my work around the world. Now, myself and my husband Pierre started our research together. And despite the fact that we were very unaware of the dangers of radioactivity, and perhaps we were not careful enough, which could be the reason why my failing health is in the particular state it is in today. I always kept the radioactive substances next to the bed, but I didn't know any better. I saw once in my dreams that my health would fail and I would become sick from the effects of the radiation work that I've been doing for years. And it seemed to me that in that dream that I would pass away on the 4th of July in 1934 in France, and that my death would be the result of the symptoms of radiation sickness, which was then known as aplastic anemia,